watch Benny, and there we go. So this particular case is really important to me. You guys will notice that I actually have been railing about the groups that Tyler Robinson is involved in for quite some time. And only Leaflet has actually taken the time to hear me out and listen to me on this. And Leaflet, I know you're busy and you're probably not watching this, but man, God bless you. And I know sometimes with my lore dumps I sound a little crazy, but I appreciate you putting up with that. It means a lot, because I tried to call attention to these groups over 10 years ago. And our governor at the time, which is Governor Herbert, the novels coming out, the comic books coming out, my real name is on that. For a time, Steel Bear and I were very well known in the GOP. I actually had a minor leadership position within the party. And so I had access to talk with the governor and meet with senators and stuff. And as a side tangent, guys, support Mike Lee. Mike Lee is truly a godsend. That man, first of all, he's one of us. He's as nerdy as they come. He loves video games. He loves comic books. All the stuff that we love, Mike Lee's into. And he's just a genuinely good, decent guy. And he sometimes it feels like he's up there fighting alone. Well, you got Ted Cruz, who says the right things sometimes and then seems to swear allegiance to foreign countries at other times, and then spends an awful lot of time tweeting and not actually doing anything. I still like Rand Paul, though. But at any rate, bottom line is, at the time, there was these groups: the Revolutionary Student Union, Students for Democratic Society, and the Brown Beret. I believe the Brown Beret is gone, but the Revolutionary Student Union, led by a Gregory Lucero, was absorbed by the Democratic Socialists of Utah, of which Tyler Robinson was a member. And my frustration with this is that and I want to be clear how I see this, if there is a there, that is to say, if there is a rabbit hole to dive into, it is very likely to go to these groups. And if it's going to go to these groups, we need to look at its leadership, past and present, which include Gregory Lucero, who is a man that has been on record saying that he wants blood in the streets. He wants the streets of Utah to run red with the blood of the capitalists. Now, that might sound familiar, but that's because he was saying that shit well before Hassan was even a concept. And if you guys look him up, you'll find that he's in Chicago now, but he cosplays as a new Che Guevara, and he fancies himself as such. I've had lunch with this guy, and he will look you in the face and he will tell you he knows communism doesn't lead to happier, more productive lives, but he believes it's right, and he's sincere. He believes it's right for the planet, and that's what we need to do, and he is willing to kill anybody that gets in his way. And he has been in legal trouble before. So again, I am not saying that he had anything to do with this. I don't know. But because I don't know that he didn't, and because I know that his group was absorbed by the group that Tyler Robinson was involved in, I would very much love to have that looked into. Now, I realize that, voices on the internet only have so far that we can look. But I'm telling you, and again, You guys know I'm ambivalent on the issue of Israel. Question Israel, question with boldness. But Candace Owens is wrong on this one. And Candace's conspiracy theories have taken us away from the investigation that we should be doing. Just as a matter of that, this is an organization that has a history of violence, that has had leaders that have openly threatened for and called for and have been in trouble for violence, that are still, although they've moved, still actively involved in calling for violence, still dressing as though they were some sort of reincarnation of Che Guevara. And if this is not a lone wolf incident, if there is a rabbit hole, I guarantee you, if we are following Candace Owens, we're going down the wrong rabbit hole. And in that regard, I'm glad we have Benny. Because I know Benny's loyalties are to the United States and not to foreign countries. And that means that that it's a lot easier to take him at his words. And so let's see what he has to say.
I just left the 4th District Courthouse in Provo, Utah, where the Charlie Kirk pre-trial hearings have just concluded. I was in the courthouse for all of them at the invitation of Erica Kirk. We've been friends with Charlie and the Kirk family for a very long time. She asked my wife and I to come out. And I need to explain something to you because I think it is critical for the greater public to understand what I just witnessed. The judge ordered that the cameras in the courthouse be turned off for us to watch the high-definition, high-quality version of this video.
That's bad. That is really bad. I don't understand why he would do that. Everybody should have access to this. Everybody should be able to watch this, and especially if we want to get past Candace Owens' conspiracy theories, because now she's out there saying, oh, he doesn't even look the right height. I mean, it's clearly the same dude. The picture is not exactly garbled. But if we want to take away the excuses and if we want to take away the distractions, everybody should have access to those high-definition videos. That's crazy. Steel Bear, I would ask if you would feel comfortable with me sharing the documentary about those groups that I did years ago. I know that it shows my face, but my face is kind of out there already anyway, if those people really want to look for it. And I should also put forward, guys, that these videos were recorded after the car accident, and I was already plumping up. Yes. Yes, I don't like parasites.
This video has been criticized online because it is a TV that's being filmed that shows security camera, and it's being filmed from a long ways away. It's a small courthouse, but the camera that's filming this
All right, in that case, I'll see if they're still available.
Television.
Because, look, again, I don't know that the Brown Beret exists anymore, but the Revolutionary Student Union was absorbed by the students, by the Democratic Socialists of Utah, the group that Tyler Robinson was involved in. And like I said, if there is a if there is a rabbit hole to dive into, it's going to be with these groups.
Screen, not only does it distort the security camera footage, but it also is at least 100 feet away from the screen itself. And so what you are seeing here is like a 720p aspect ratio version quality of what they have. And the judge ordered us all to watch the full high definition security footage, 4K, that exists of Tyler Robinson murdering Charlie Kirk. I was able to see it myself, maybe 7 feet away.
Wait, did I misunderstand? Did he mean... I thought he said they weren't allowed to watch it. Maybe I misheard.
Away from me was the screen. They rolled in a screen for the family to watch. This was a request from the family's attorney. The criticisms of this video is that you can't see his face, and you can't make out the license plate, and you can't see much detail. Well, let me tell you that having seen it myself in person, the state's case is overwhelming and demonstrable. You can see every bit of the license plate number. You can watch the enhanced version where they zoom in on the rooftop to show Tyler Robinson running across the top of the Losi building, lining it up perfectly with the shot that kills Charlie Kirk, and then him fleeing, and something else you can't see is Tyler Robinson. But I saw him. For 3.5 hours, I sat 10 feet away from Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson, I don't know how to describe this. He never made eye contact, never turned around in his chair, never faced the family. Erica tells me he's never looked at the family, not once. He just stared at the ground while this video was playing in 4K, while the courthouse gasped at seeing this in its full resolution. I'm telling you, it's like, it is damning to see this all, and it will be released, just not yet. Tyler Robinson is pale, sallow, looks like he hasn't been eating, skeletal. You could see Tyler Robinson's bones through his suit. Tyler Robinson looked sickly. It looked like the weight of what he has done has been pressed upon him. And that's what the testimony of Lance Twiggs yesterday revealed, that he's sorry for what he did, that he wished he hadn't done it. That's the testimony. And that he was trying to kill himself. That's what he said to his parents, who were also not too far from me. But while this video was playing, something that I think you needed, that no one could see, but that everybody needs to hear about, and that I have permission to share, is that Erica Kirk was in a ball of tears in the shoulder of Charlie's mother. And Charlie's mother was crying on Erica. It was so painful to watch this in 4K. It was so tough to watch this video, and they blacked out and they blurred some of the video here. To see the full high definition is so damning. And that's the position of the prosecution. The position of the prosecution is this case is a slam dunk, that we have overwhelming empirical and demonstrable evidence that this is something that the court and a jury will convict and will send Tyler Robinson to the electric chair or to a firing squad, which is, by the way, legal in Utah. There are multiple situations that would merit a firing squad.
I really hope to God that they put in front of the firing squad. It's been a long time since we've executed somebody that way, but this kid really needs it. And I will tell you why. Again, I tried to talk about these groups to the governor himself at the time, which was Herbert, and I was largely dismissed. I was told not to be a typical ginger and not to lose my temper about it. I was told these kids will grow out of it, and that the minute they get into the real world and they have to get jobs, they'll turn conservative. I have not seen that. And instead, I've seen at least one of the groups, like I said, I believe the Brown Beret is gone. At least as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen or heard from them. And then, of course, the Revolutionary Student Union was absorbed by Democratic Socialists of Utah. An offshoot, by the way, of the Democrat Socialists of America, who gave us AOC and Bernie Sanders and that retard Mamdani. So these groups are ideologically dangerous. They're also physically dangerous. They've been threatening violence for years. They finally up and did it. And again, my contention is that instead of focusing on these groups and trying to find out if these groups had anything to do with this, or if this was just Tyler Robinson acting on his own, we're instead, talking about Charlie Kirk coming to Candace Owens in her dreams.
In Utah, some states don't have that. Utah does. And so I need to sort of couch the full picture of what it was like inside of the courthouse. Because what you see online here is, a really tough and incomplete approximation of all of the evidence that the defense has. I'm sorry, all the evidence that the prosecution has. The evidence has no the defense has no evidence. And even the video, like with Lance Twiggs, half of it was redacted. Half of it has been blocked by the judge, who did everything in the pretrial, before the trial got going today, did everything to.
Lance Twiggs is somebody that we should be investigating, because he's the one that is the tranny. I'm sorry, can I say that on Twitch? Twitch, please don't ban me. If I violated TOS, I didn't know. I don't know. The transgender person. There is an ideology behind a lot of what we're seeing out of them, and we've seen a lot of people of that ideology take up arms and engage in violence, while at the same time accusing us of trying to genocide them, which is absurd, because I can't think of a single incident where that's been even remotely true. They are driving themselves insane and engaging in violence. And so I again, Twiggs, also a member of these groups. There was a Discord. We should have public access to what was going on the Discord. We should have public access to everything that was being said by each and every single one of them. We should be able to see who their leaders are current. We should have the documentation as to if they have any connection to leaders of the past. And these are all things, again, I think normally in an investigation and a court proceeding, you wouldn't necessarily do that. But again, I do think that the damage that Candace Owens has done necessitates a degree of transparency that we have not seen before. So I would like to see these meetings, and I would like to see them unredacted.
To effectively, ensure that there was going to be extreme protections on the media and security and secrecy. And while we can see clips like this, and I'm thankful for that, the judge certainly errs on the side of.
He needs to be, in order to serve as an example to the others, so what they think when there's no consequences for their action. Yes, Astro, I completely agree. And that's exactly it. Right now, a lot of the violence that we're seeing on the left is happening largely because we've let it. In fact, the left has gone as far as it has largely because we've let it. We have stood by and just, said to ourselves, and I've actually heard this said. Oh, they think that we're monsters. But if we're nice to them, if we're extra nice to them, they'll understand that we're not, that we're just their friends and we're their neighbors and we just disagree. No, they don't. They don't see us that way, and they're not being taught to see that way, because their college professors, their media, people like Hassan, are encouraging them to look at us as absolute irredeemable villains that need to be killed. And if we don't start taking that seriously and punishing them to the fullest extent of the law, it's only going to get worse. So yeah, he absolutely should face the firing squad for his crimes. And very likely anybody else, if, again, we don't know because we haven't looked, and we haven't looked because Candace Owens had Charlie Kirk come to her in a dream, But we do need to look at these groups. We do need to determine what level of involvement that they had. And if indeed there is a rabbit hole, then we need to gather everyone up in that hole, and we need to put them to the firing squad as well.
The constitutional rights of Tyler Robinson, weighing them against media and the First Amendment. There was a First Amendment lawyer there for the media that was interrupting and asking, obviously, for as much access as could possibly be given. Like, for instance, the judge didn't allow the screens to be filmed today. I'm not sure if that's not a permanent ruling. That's what he.
I hope that's not permanent. Again, because of the conspiracy theories, there needs to be a a much greater degree of transparency than has ever been historically normal. Everybody needs to have full access to everything. Everything that is being seen and shown in that courtroom, we need to have access to in the public as well.
Ruled today. What you saw yesterday is Lance Twiggs just say that Tyler Robinson admitted to doing this murder 7 times. Text messages, multiple times. A handwritten note, multiple times. Admitted to him multiple times that he did this and that he's sorry about it. Admitted to his parents when he turned himself in, and then eventually turning himself in, admitting to law enforcement. And so I would ask, as you watch and as you interpret this for yourself, please hang tight for the full evidence. Please hang tight for what is about to be revealed to the public. Do not be on the side of the demons tormenting the Kirks. It is, first off, immoral and unchristian to do this to a widow. If you are a Christian, there are numerous verses about how to treat widows and orphans in the Bible. Tormenting them and spinning lies, evidence-free lies about them is not how you treat a widow. But then don't be on the wrong side. You saw yesterday that everybody who's been making up these evidence-free, spurless claims was destroyed. That every single theory, conspiracy theory, I hate even to use that term because everything's a theory until it's proven wrong. Well, it's proven wrong yesterday.
I'm just going to put this forward, and I know that Benny would disagree with me on this, but that is true of a lot of conspiracy theories. The problem is with conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists writ large is that the evidence ultimately doesn't matter. You can have definitive proof of something, but if it doesn't go with what they already want to believe, and that's the problem with Candace and her audience, they want to believe that this is Israel. They want to believe that there's some Jew out there that is responsible for this, and certainly if that's the case, because I'm not going to pretend that people like Epstein or people like George Soros don't exist. But in this particular case, the evidence is what it is. And the evidence is that you have a far leftist nut who is in love with a transgender person and decided to take the life of Charlie Kirk because of Charlie Kirk's alleged hate. It's ridiculous. But when you've got people like Hassan out there saying that these people like us are all hate, and we need to be dealt with, quote unquote, in Minecraft, we can't be surprised when a far left nut actually does what Hassan was basically indirectly telling him to do. That's the problem. And my biggest problem with conspiracy theories, my biggest problem with them is how they always seem to give cover to communists and jihadis. And I don't even know why you would want to do that. But that's where we are. Is Candace Owens, for some reason, is giving cover to a communist, and it's the weirdest thing to me. But again, I'm not saying there isn't a rabbit hole to dive into. I'm just suggesting that it might be less entertaining than an international conspiracy of madmen from Israel and France and Egypt, as relayed to her in a dream where Charlie Kirk came back from the dead and there were time travelers and all this other stuff. I gotta be honest with you. I don't, just listening to the stuff that Candace has said, I don't know how anybody can take her seriously at all, because like I said, I'm an Occam's razor guy. Simplest solution is usually the correct one. Also, history and reality have a bias in favor of the mundane. Candace, I used to like Candace a lot. So this hurts me to say this. I'm not sure what it is. I don't understand if Candace has just gone nuts, or if Candace never was in the first place what I looked up to and what I thought she was. Because people pushing the conspiracies are communists and jihadis or paid by them. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I 9/11 was not an inside job. There is some evidence to suggest that they knew that there was a threat, but there was some lines that were cut between departments of the government that prevented people from being able to communicate to each other to fully advise of the threat. Jihadis did 9/11. This is the part where people are going to get really mad at me, but JFK was killed by a communist. And yet, it's not just 9/11 and JFK, it's every major conspiracy theory somehow manages to offer some degree of cover for communists and jihadis. And again, I don't understand why. These are the two ideologies that are the most vocal about wanting to destroy America and tear down the Western way of life. So why are we giving them cover? When it looks as though one of theirs did it, one of theirs very likely did it, and without profound evidence to the contrary, I don't understand why we have a lot of people actually that will do enormous amounts of mental gymnastics in order to accept cover for communists and jihadis. And again, I want to be very, very clear what I'm not doing here. I am not offering cover for Israel. I'm all for questioning Israel because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm not a big fan of governments. So, I question with boldness even the very existence of God. For if there be a God, surely he prefer honest questions to cold-hearted fear. Thomas Jefferson. And that's my approach to when it comes to matters of governance in general. We absolutely have a duty and an obligation to question every single government. And we should, to be fair, question even the official stories regarding, say, 9/11, for instance, because a lot of us were in shock. How on earth could something like that happen to the safest country in America? Well, ultimately, it boils down to that we felt so safe that we let our guard down. And a lot of us don't understand jihad. And a lot of us, for that matter, don't understand communism. They are open about their desire to destroy America and destroy the Western way of life, and we have a tendency to not take them seriously. And I think that's ultimately a mistake. And I think, given my experience with Utah's Governor Herbert, not taking these groups seriously, I believe, directly or indirectly, caused this to happen to Charlie Kirk. Yes, you can. You can question governments without calls for genocide. 100% agree. 100% agree. And in all honesty, there are many options for resolving conflict that do not involve violence, and I think that it's unfortunate that we end up somehow forgetting that in some cases. Or even how a government decides to defend itself. We can absolutely take a look at the results of executing a war. And even if that war is justified, we can still say, we think you went a little too far, and here's why. I think all of that's fair. All of that's fair. But I think at the end of the day, though, again, my biggest problem with conspiracy theories, at the end of the day, Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist, you know? And we had 4 airplanes that were hijacked by jihadis. And something that was arranged by Osama bin Laden. And are there things that we could have done better in these situations? Yes, absolutely. Are there steps that we could have taken that could have prevented this? I like to think so, but, hindsight's 2020, you know? We ignoring the threat that communism and jihadism poses, however, is an invitation for more instances like this, more innocent life being lost. And that's the part that is getting on my nerves, especially when you listen to the stuff that Candace Owens has said and just how outright absurd. I mean, she's literally brought up time travels. She literally talks about how Charlie Kirk comes to her in her dreams. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. And she's all, well, Tyler Robinson wasn't even there that day. Well, I mean, he was, as we can see from these videos. And again, I do think that the courts, under these circumstances, as bizarre and weird as they are, do have an obligation to release all of this to the public so we can all see it.
And I saw it for myself. And I'm saying this, I know that I have a pre-existing relationship with the Kirks, and I worked with Charlie for close to a decade, but I'm saying this as a human being, as a father myself, as a husband myself. For the love of God, have mercy on them. End the torment. Eliminate your capacity to be deceived or tricked into thinking that there is no case here against Tyler Robinson. You were able to see in the video that I saw, you were able to see plainly him get up on the roof, crawl across the roof, and fire the weapon. You were able to see it. Yes, I wish the cameras were closer, but when they enhance the images, it's obvious what's happening. And I saw it myself. And so I beg of you, please pray for a speedy trial, pray for justice, and let's continue to tell the truth on this channel, especially now that we have the evidence out. All right. Like, share, and subscribe for more updates, for more truth. It's your boy Benny, reporting from Utah. See ya.